But we do come back to a thing of envy in society, I suppose, of people with affluence, Jack, and sometimes we underestimate the difficulties that they too can face. It writes here, Jonathan Norcroft, a source close to Sterling described him yesterday as psychologically at an all-time low. They said his decline at Chelsea made him feel worthless and forgotten. That the descent from being one of England's top players to outcast had been so quick and sharp, the psychological strain has been immeasurable. It must have been a rough few years for a man who's still very young in contemporary.
I mean, to read in there, it's an obvious fact, but he's younger than Harry Kane and was 23, I think, when he was a big part of that 2018 World Cup for England. Obviously, an incredible player for Manchester City. And as Johnny mentions in there as well, we've all got to say he's on 325 grand a week at Chelsea.
He's never signed for Chelsea.
That's a big... His treatment there, I think they realised very quickly they'd made a mistake. He was a big marquee signing for the American ownership early on, 50 million quid, a bit of a wow. They've gone and got him, unveiled him on a tour of America. But his treatment at Chelsea, while he was a disappointing player there, was appalling at times. I remember I was on the tour of America in 2024 and when Enzo Maresca had just arrived, and there was a big, they had a connection from Man City. Sterling was seen as someone that could immediately click in and understand the way that Maresca wanted Chelsea to play early on. He was a big feature of that tour. Maresca speaking quite glowingly about him. Sterling, I remember speaking to him very briefly after the last game, his excitement at playing for Maresca, talking about getting back into the England squad through playing for Chelsea. And then a few days later, they pulled the cord and that was it. You're in the bomb squad. You're not going to play for us again. His number was gone. João Felix was brought in his place, and then from then on, training on his own at Cobham, training a bit with the under-21s. For anyone, no matter how much money you're on, to have had that career is a horrible situation to be in. There's been a lot of issues.
The money doesn't immunise, and also very specifically Raheem Sterling, the quite frankly disgraceful treatment he had in sections of the British media that criticised. Raheem Sterling himself said he gets criticised for shopping at Poundland, he gets criticised when he shops at Waitrose. What do you want from him? He has unfairly been targeted for various reasons, and I think at this current point in time, I would warn against having any sort of glee at a presumed downfall of a person. I hope there's good people around Raheem Sterling, and he can find whatever he needs to find, and he can go and continue his career, be it in Italy or if he decides to retire. I want nothing but the best for Raheem Sterling, and I hope he gets through this.
Did he feel unfairly treated as a young, affluent black man? Is that...
Yes, I mean, if we go back to when he is a Manchester City player and then he goes to Stamford Bridge and he was racially abused by Chelsea fans, and the very next day he made a social media post and he said, I don't really mind about the racist abuse I deal with, that's fine. But what he did do is he turned the camera back on us, the British media, and the reception that he got for buying his mother a house versus that a young black player in City's academy got for buying his parents a house compared to a young white player. And he said, please pay attention to either the unconscious bias or the very conscious bias we have and the perception we do and the treatment we give to young black players. And I think ever since then, he's always been a lightning bolt. He was a huge lightning bolt in English media when he made the switch from Liverpool to Manchester City. There was this idea that he was some sort of, I believe one headline described him as a footballing idiot, which was remarkable in that no one plays for Pep Guardiola if you're an idiot. He's one of the most intelligent football players tactically, English football scene. I think his campaign at Euro 2020 is one of the best tournament campaigns from an England player of the 21st century. In my opinion, he was player of the tournament. One of the problems is, he is 31. In footballing years, he got his start at 16. Yeah. He has played...
He's nearly 40.
So much football.
Like Wayne Rooney, potentially.
I mean, watching him at Chelsea, one of the things was, the big thing about him at Manchester City was he used to constantly run in behind, he used to constantly attack the back post. And at Chelsea, he was very much received defeat. And you go, oh, right, he's having to change and he's having to play. And I watched some games of him at Feyenoord, and unfortunately, that burst of pace wasn't there, and he's had to adjust. And he's always been resilient. But unfortunately, he has been put through so many things and come out the other side and shown his mental resilience. And it seems that this is a point in his life where, for some reason, he couldn't quite bounce back in the way he wants. And I want him to bounce back in the way he wants, because I believe in Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, he's brought some great moments, certainly as football fans and football members of the media. Gentlemen, thank you very much for now.